Your conversation about tipping and the prices of things leads me to an article that our friend Eileen Mellon wrote for Richmond Magazine. I believe it published in March, just about the state of the RVA dine industry in the 5 years since COVID. Did you have a chance to read that article?
I did. So Temperature Check, I really liked the title. I think that was a really smart move by her. I did read it. Has some really great individuals that have been working in the Richmond dining for quite some time. Kendra, Lee, I mean, she really covered like a good gamut.
The Polks down at Charlotte's.
Yep, that's
one of our favorite podcast experiences, by the way, interviewing those two in their restaurant.
I think that you preferred the food.
The company was great.
The company was amazing.
The food was great,
but that was good.
I think that was right before, that was the January before the pandemic, which kind of sticks in my mind as one of the last times we got out. Anyway, back to the article. What were your takeaways?
I think that it's helpful for the individuals that don't sit inside of a restaurant to understand that it's not just the food that causes a restaurant to close. Like, I think people are like, oh, that restaurant closed because its food was crappy. That's like maybe like the last thing that makes a restaurant close. Like it could be rent, which people talked about. You mean Southbound closed, rent. It could be, I don't know, employees, which that article talks about, right? If you can't find people to work, then how do you keep your restaurant open? It could be many other myriad factors.
One of the issues that was raised in the article was just kind of the lack of profit restaurants are able to make these days because of all the rising costs. They're trying to do right by their employees, paying them more, offering healthcare, things like that. And there comes a tipping point where the
Pun intended.
Where the food gets too expensive for people. So Kendra, who owns restaurants like Laura Lee's, she mentioned that her profit for, I think it was last year, was around 1%. And so she had to raise prices, but she wanted to let her employees know that this is the situation she's dealing with. She's not some fat cat restaurant owner who's rolling it around in her Rolls Royce, smoking money out of her cigar. It's tough out there.
It's hot. Let's just say, okay, let's talk about your margins. Let's say that your product is chicken thighs, right? And the price of chicken thighs goes from $7 for 10 pounds to $14 for 10 pounds. Then your margin dips so low because you've priced your restaurant to be on the $7 for 10 pounds. And I don't think anybody thinks about how that affects them. You will budget your groceries based on pricing, most likely, right? Because your household needs to run.
Absolutely. Most people do it that way.
Sure. So why wouldn't they translate those thoughts to the restaurant? Restaurateurs have to budget the same way you budget your own household. So I just feel like a lot of people don't talk about that particular part of a restaurant. It's just not always the food. Good food, restaurants close all the time.
So as a consumer and someone who eats out, at least once a week, right? At least once a week?
Sure.
Where do you see the future of all this? Like, how is this going to play out short term, medium term, long term?
So I think that we are going to see a lot of good restaurants close in the short term and in the long term, because I just don't think that at that smaller margin, you're going to be able to make it. My mom said when she was running restaurants that if you were going to fail, you needed to fail fast because failing slow was really, really expensive. And I think that I don't want to call restaurants that have been open for a while and that are struggling in that little margin place as failure, because I think failure should be celebrated. It means that you've done and tried something. But I think more restaurants are going to open and close faster because they've started to understand that it's just not feasible to keep it running.
All right. If that's the case, what do you see as possible solutions to this situation?
So diners obviously need to take into account that dining out is a luxury. It's not a given. You don't get to dictate your $7 price for a hamburger anymore. An article came out in the Wall Street Journal maybe this week talking about the fact that a fast food hamburger is now the same as a burger you can get at Chili's. And actually Chili's might be less expensive because their margins, as how much bigger they are, they can reduce them down. So maybe those are your spaces if you're looking for a budget meal. Maybe a local purveyor that's trying to do everything right is just not the place for you right now. I don't want to say that because I want everybody to go out and eat, Scott, but if you're going to complain about the prices, maybe it's not the place for you. Is that bad to say?
I mean, it's the truth. It's your truth. It's what you're seeing out there.
What do you think long term as someone that goes out to eat a little less because there's other factors that you have in your household that I don't.
Sure. I feel like ever since this podcast began in 2019, I've been griping about the prices of things and the sticker shock that I've seen. And wow, it is something else right now. It really is. When you go out by yourself or with a friend, maybe it's a little less noticeable, right? Because you're only paying for one or two people. But when I'm bringing my family out for a meal and it's $100 for a normal fast casual restaurant meal with no alcohol at all and mostly waters around the table, I mean, that is a real wake-up call. You can't do that very often. Most people can't do that very often.
I mean, I go out a lot, but we can't do that. I mean, we have to stick in the happy hour. I mean, that's why you hear me say happy hour.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those prices make more sense for us as opposed to regular dinner time. Make the most of happy hour, guys. That's important stuff.